Guys, the Republican National Convention started yesterday and it got off without a hitch. I was happy to see that the security was definitely beefed up. You know, this is July 16th today, 2024, and obviously we're going to go for another day of the Republican National Convention, and I'm excited to see who the guest speakers are for today. But yesterday's convention got off with a really strong start. There were two people that stood out to me the most. The first one was Sean O'Brien. This man pictured here behind me. He is the president of the Teamsters. And this U.S. News article is saying that it's a historic appearance. I would agree. It's been at least 100 years, I think, since they've had someone go and actually speak. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's been a long time that any of them have spoken at one of these conventions. So the first speech was inspired by Sean O'Brien, and I had to write down immediately what I was thinking because this was a lot of information to take in. And it deeply resonated with me what he was saying. Now, keep in mind, he is the president of basically a labor union, right? The Teamsters, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest union. For them to come on stage and support Trump says a lot about where we're at in the world. This is actually probably one of the most important speeches I think is going to be of this convention, because labor, you and me, the people who actually make this world go round, it's important, right? It's like we already know the teachers union is definitely going to back the Democrats. I mean, they always back the Democrats. But for the labor union president to come on stage is a speech that I think it's a real pivotal moment at this convention. And obviously Sean O'Brien, he spoke extremely passionately about labor conditions and workers' rights. He emphasized the need for fair wages, sustainable jobs to ensure that people in the United States can retire without fear of financial insecurity due to corporate exploitation. His speech was filled with the energy needed to inspire us, urging our leaders in Washington, D.C., not to be intimidated by corporate lobbyists or larger forces. You know, I like that he was even talking about it in a very plain sense, like he could look out his window and see people going that are good men and women in Congress. And I kept thinking, was there any good good women and men in Congress? Really, I think most of them are corrupt and have sold their soul to the devil. But he said, no, there's some good ones in there. And then the first people that come to mind to me are the people that are the most vocal, because they love to fearmonger you against the people that are vocal, you know, and there's good ones to me on both sides. I won't say right now because that's not a part of the message I'm trying to make today. O'Brien's message aligns with the broader fight for economic justice. And I feel that it's a similar sentiment in Trump's repeated call when he raised his fist in the air and said, fight, fight, fight. Our goal is to move beyond the constant struggle, allowing Americans to live with dignity is what I think. That's what I would push for. And his willingness to speak out was courageous. Guys, I want to urge and stress the importance to understand, I've never been a person that was like deeply into politics, okay? I never believed that these things really impact us. I'm a real Christian in the sense that I believe that the only person really can save us is Jesus Christ. And I believe that mankind is unfit to rule themselves. But while we're here, we need to make a go at it and do our best. And I believe that we're starting to see some small changes that are happening incrementally over time. And I think it's our duty as Americans to really pay attention to what people are saying and try to find out, does this align with what our values are? And for me, everything Sean O'Brien was saying aligned with what my values were. I truly believe that people who work the jobs, they call them the essential workers, are the bedrock of America. They're the cornerstone. They're the people that keep things going. You know, the truckers, the drivers, the people delivering your food to all those grocery stores that you just waltz into. All these people contributing to our society is what makes it important that we have a fair and balanced workplace for people, you know, people having the ability to retire with dignity. And to me, his speech really underscored the importance of recognizing dignity in just labor in general, that not all jobs is going to be an actor, a singer, a dancer. These people, in my opinion, get paid way too much to do what they're doing. But it's interesting when even people that are in entertainment, even people who have been around these corrupt people, in my opinion, because a lot of celebrity people are the most corrupt people on the planet. That brings me to the next person that I thought was interesting at this day one of the Republican National Convention. And that person is Amber Rose. The second speech was that of Amber Rose. You know, she stood out to me for how she exemplified herself. She went on stage, she had a nice tall turtleneck. She, showed that she's open-minded and that she can change. And by researching and soul searching and finding meaning in what other people say rather than just dismissing them outright, that you can, if you strive to listen and understand other people's perspectives, you can actually get out of your zone and become somebody who's enlightened and open up yourself to a different journey. Her speech for me showed that in America, to achieve meaningful progress, we must remove our partisan blinders and acknowledge flaws and merits on both sides. And her reflecting on the administration and what Trump is trying to accomplish shows that we're in an era where I think people have a choice. And by listening to each other, we can find common ground and we can work toward a brighter future together. Donald Trump would not have been my number one pick. I could tell you that right now. I saw him as a rich man, a man that grew up with lots of benefits, as a person that might have even been a part of a community, with his dad being a slumlord, in my opinion, because that's really what it was. He bought a lot of properties and he didn't care about fixing it. He just wanted the money. But, how do you get rich in America? You get rich by exploiting people. You just don't get rich overnight just from being the good guy and the nice person and giving out money here, there, and everywhere. You get rich in America by being tough, by being brass, by being crass, by not having a lot of morals. And that's most the case for most people. But I think there's a pivotal point here in America when you see people like the Teamsters, when you see people like an Amber Rose, who was clearly a woman that was just an arm candy sex piece for Kanye West. When you see people like that changing their life and doing something different, even Donald Trump, that was once a part of that celebrity sphere, that was part of the Hollywood crowd that they loved. Whoopi loved him. Hillary Clinton had him at her daughter's wedding. He was the guy that they all loved. And then for them to turn their back against him because he no longer wanted any part of that and he wanted to do something more significant. Same thing with Amber Rose. It shows that once you're on a path to a higher consciousness or a higher enlightenment, or you're trying to do something meaningful, the evil people of this planet and this world won't like it. They'll try to bring you down and they will try their hardest. They'll be clawing at the walls to bring you down. But I really enjoyed her speech.